Aliens? Yes.
But maybe no. Welcome to the show. Aliens, yes? But maybe Men in Black. I'm Travis.
And I'm Josh.
This is an otherworldly podcast as ambiguous as our title. So I don't know if
which you didn't say. You didn't say our title.
Yeah, I said aliens, yes, but maybe no. So I said
you said aliens, yes, or Men in Black.
Yeah, I kind of give it away. What we're going to be talking about today. I think Men in Black, I'm just going to let this discussion take us wherever it's going to take us because I think it's interesting.
It is interesting. There's a lot to it. I want it to be true.
Okay.
Men in Black. What are they? Who are they? We all have heard of them.
Yeah.
Did we hear about it before the movie came out? Did we know?
There was a comic, and I was aware of the comic. And
Okay.
I'd read the comic, and then the movie was based on that, but the comic was based on some of these experiences that we're going to talk about today. I don't know if I'm coming in. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. But
Okay.
anytime someone mentions a comic, they kind of sound like a douchebag.
No, they don't.
Oh, I read the comic before the...
A lot of people, their eyes glaze over.
Thor's paperback, Spider-Man edition 2. I don't know. I've never read a comic. I've read the comics in the newspaper.
It's the same thing. It's similar.
Yeah.
Those are all comics that are in syndication. That like Garfield, you can buy actual Garfield comics. I'm a nerd, and I like most of nerd culture except D&D. Fuck D&D.
I actually am very intrigued by D&D. I've done a few intro games. Seems like it'd be really fun with the right group of people.
I'm gonna walk back the fuck D&D. D&D is the part of nerd culture that has always been like too nerdy for me, and I don't say that in a disparaging way. I mean, like, I'm already a big dork. Getting into something like that, it would totally consume my life. And so, like, since I know what I know about myself, it like incorporates two things, which is like theatrics that I love, and then fantasy. Those two things I love very much, and I'm afraid that if I were to get into D&D, and I've got friends that are like they're big D&D, what do you call them? Heads?
D&Ders?
Yeah, they're big D&Ders, and I've seen what it does to their life. Totally destroys it.
I know people who are really big into it, and it hasn't destroyed it, but it's a big part of their life.
My friends have been playing D&D next to a dumpster. Mm-hmm.
That is not true.
Yes.
You just made that up.
They lost custody of their kids.
No.
Yeah. They had cleared the bar, were lawyers. Then because of some things they said in a D&D campaign, they were disbarred.
What the heck is going on right now?
I'm serious.
You're serious?
Yeah.
This sounds insane.
It's insane. D&D consumes your life. Ruins it.
100% every time.
Every time. It will.
Just once.
Yeah, just once. And that's why I say D&D, not even once.
Yep.
What a great introduction to Men in Black, the topic of our conversation today.
Oh, comics. Yeah, you read the comics before. Is Men in Black something that we would have known before there's any cultural or entertainment access?
I mean, yes.
Was it a popular like myth in school or
not
in the workplace?
I mean, not in, like, did they teach this in school about the Men in Black? Or now we're going to cover the Men in Black?
I mean, like recess gossip, like the Marilyn Manson thing.
Well, you're going to have to explain to me what the Marilyn Manson thing is. I think,
as we all know,
somehow
in the 90s, Marilyn Manson removed one of his ribs, or
two of his lower ribs,
so that he could
fillet himself.
Yes.
But he's also Paul from the Wonder Years.
Yes, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
And every kid in every school in the entire country heard that.
Knew about it.
There was no internet. We don't know how it spread.
Yeah.
Was Men in Black something like that? Like people like, ooh.
I wasn't aware of Men in Black, as a kid. That doesn't mean that my finger wasn't on the pulse, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
Of what was popular back then. I was a comic clarinet playing,
briefcase holding.
I didn't have a briefcase. I did have a bag, and I would wear what is essentially like a 3-piece suit, where I'd wear a vest, a nice button-up shirt, and a jacket.
So anyone listening to this, and if you've heard any of the past episodes, when Travis is calling you weird,
the epitome of cool,
you don't need to listen to him.
Or do you?
Did you own a trench coat?
No, never wore a trench coat.
In the rain to keep your suit crisp?
I did want to have a zoot suit for a brief period. I was actually in a swing dance group called Swing Kids, and we did think about getting zoot suits, but we thought that was too weird.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
So yeah, Men in Black. I hope everything that we hear is real. I want it to be real. I want this more than anything.
You want Men in Black to be real? You want people to come to your house and tell you don't do things? And then do some up close magic at you?
I would love that. Okay. I don't think I would be afraid.
I think I would. All descriptions of the Men in Black sound terrifying to me.
But no one's been harmed that I've read.
There have been threats, though.
Yeah. Empty alien threats. With beautiful lips.
That is the thing, is the beautiful lips.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Yeah. That's how they get in the door.
You just get lost in those red lips.
So yeah, it's a myth. It's a legend. Its existence may or may not be true just because it's been firsthand experiences most of the time.
Which is much of what we've talked about on this podcast is firsthand experiences.
Yeah.
There have been a few confirmations here and there of like the government stepping in saying like, no, UAPs they're a thing. Trust us. They're out there. It's just, we don't know what they are exactly, or do we?
We don't know what this is all about. Mm-hmm. We just have the stories and the myths and the legends and some sighting stories.
All right. Well, let's tuck into the dossier a little bit. Early sightings. Harold Dahls, he had an encounter in 1947 near Maury Island, Washington. So this is something that I've, reading through all this information, is that it doesn't exist on one coast or the other, or in just middle America. This is like, these accounts have been pretty broad.
Worldwide?
Like nothing that I've read. I'm just a dumb idiot. Like they say that Romans have had encounters with like UAPs. But as far as like the Men in Black are concerned, the first documented incidents of that happened in 1947 with Harold Dahl. It involved a man in a black suit warning him to stay silent about a UFO sighting. So he was out on a lake fishing and he saw 3 donut-shaped things in the sky. One fell and like killed a dog and his son got hurt somehow. And so shortly after, the Men in Black showed up and they threatened him into silence. His partner, Gray Barker, wrote a book called They Knew Too Much, which further solidified the MIB as figures of secrecy and intimidation within the ufology community. So that has been debunked, though. That is a myth. He has retracted his statements there.
Wow. And that was one of the first.
Yeah. And so this whole movement that the Men in Black exist, that their etymology was this incident that was fake.
But what if the Men in Black came back after he talked about the Men in Black and told them, we're serious?
Good job. You did a good job by redacting it. Now we're going to keep you and your family alive. Sure, you can speculate that. Yeah. How do we know the Men in Black didn't come in here and tell you, hey, Travis is coming over. Make sure you wear pants. And now I show up and you're not wearing pants. Maybe they came and said, nope, no pants is a good thing.
Because I do what I want.
Yeah. Well, so does this guy. So does everybody.
But then something changed where he took back what he wanted.
I know, but to speculate that somebody had said the Men in Black came and told him not to say that is, I think, silly.
Well, just keeping my options open.
Your options open that they exist and closing all other options.
I have no agenda.
Okay.
So he came out, confessed it was a hoax.
Yeah.
You're saying that this may have been the foundation for future narratives.
It was. This is considered the first Men in Black sighting. There weren't previous Men in Black sightings.
I mean, it could be two things. It could be aliens. Some of the descriptions they have of these creatures are very alien-like. Mm-hmm. Or it could be the new government programs that have just come in because these are now funded secret programs. But there's more, and they evolve. It's not just a simple Men in Black, not someone you'd see in New York walking down the street in a suit.
But it also could be that.
It could be. I mean, this guy didn't say what they look like other than just men in black suits, right?
I mean, that's the whole reason why they're called Men in Black, is because of this first incident. We wouldn't say this is the first sighting of Men in Black had they not shown up being Men in Black. They would be Men in Purple or aliens in
leotards.
G-strings.
Oh, what is a leotard but a full body G-string?
That's true. Yeah, it all goes right into your butt.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about how they looked, but there are a couple other accounts and sightings, like the Bender incident. Mm-hmm. So Albert K. Bender, a prominent ufologist in the 50s, claimed that his UFO research was stopped because of 3 Men in Black, and they threatened him into silence. It's all detailed in his book, which was published in 1956. Mm-hmm. called They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers. So the first one that you were talking about with Harold Dahl, that was 47. This was in the 50s.
Yeah, this is, just a couple years later.
And I mean, books were big in the 50s. Reading was getting very prominent.
Right.
The literacy rate was going up like crazy.
There are schools.
Same thing with like music or movies. You know, there wasn't a million bands. There wasn't a million movies. I mean, what was there was there. So when a book comes out, people are going to be reading it. So let's talk about what these guys look like.
Okay. They look very cool. This is the last suit they're going to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And the only difference between one Man in Black and another Man in Black is they make this shit look good.
After these encounters, there's been hundreds and thousands of different encounters. There's been a couple of pictures, a few videos.
One video. There's one video that we saw, and then there's one photographic evidence of what they claim to be a Man in Black, but it could just be somebody wearing a suit standing on a corner. So the thing that I have picked up on a lot of this is that these people see something and then they get paranoid about it. And they think that now everything that they do and say is going to jeopardize their safety. They're looking for reasons to back that up. There was one account of somebody who said somebody had broken into their house and they just assumed that was a Man in Black and they're looking for stuff when it could have just been a home invasion type thing.
Like they could have just got burgled.
Yeah, they could have been burgled.
So yeah, the accounts vary a lot. How they're described, the situations, what's said. But there are some things that are very common, like their appearance. I know you are very infatuated with how they look, Travis. Would you like to describe how they look?
Yeah, desperately. I've been waiting for this chance. Creepy. Okay, back to you, Josh.
That's weird, because earlier you were saying beautiful.
Off-putting, I would say uncanny valley, like close enough to human, but far enough away that it's a little unsettling.
Yeah, I would say like a dolphin pretending to be a human.
Yeah, because they're hairless, waxy skin. But doesn't that just sound insane to describe? Like, if that was the case,
it would be a huge thing.
But the accounts are like, oh no, I was alone. I was in my house. Some of them are preceded by a phone call, these visits to somebody's house. And they ask them outright, well, are you at home alone? And if they say yes, then suddenly there's somebody at their door. Why hasn't somebody just lied? If they are aware of the Men in Black and know that they only visit when they're alone, why not lie or set up a camera to capture it?
Yeah. And why aren't, in today's age...
Well, and that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. A
ridiculous amount of cameras.
You see a lot of these accounts drop off very steeply after Dan Aykroyd's experience, in like 2002. So not a lot of Men in Black sightings have happened since the advent of like modern day cameras or...
What happened to Dan Aykroyd in 2002?
He had been working on a show. He had like 26 episodes that he'd recorded. They were, I guess, recording the series finale or the season finale. None of them have been aired. Like, accounts of the story seem a little weird. Like, why would you have 26 episodes in the can? I say that to you and me, who have 26 episodes of this show and we haven't released any. But why would you have, as Dan Aykroyd, have 26 episodes recorded and none of them released?
Well, I do everything Dan Aykroyd does.
I know. So he had been recording the show, not released anything yet. He was still in talks with the head of the Sci-Fi Network. What you hear is that the head of that network was hoping for something else from the show. They got Dan Aykroyd to be on the show. They thought it was going to be more comedy-based. Dan Aykroyd was really looking to explore some of his more niche hobbies, which was exploring the existence of UFOs.
Yeah, he was into a lot of the spiritual stuff too.
Sure.
And
yeah. So the reason that he was outside varies. Some say he was out having a smoke break. Others say he was getting a call from Britney Spears or on the phone with Britney Spears, which I think is silly. But the accounts are all about the same, is that there was a black sedan that had just appeared across the street that he didn't notice before. He saw somebody in the driver's seat, and then somebody appeared outside of the car and was mean mugging him. He turned for a second, and when he looked back to see if the car was still there, it was all gone. He said there's no way that it could have passed without him knowing it, but also, like, it's Dan Aykroyd. He could have been pulled in 100 different directions. It's New York City, downtown New York. There's a lot going on. He could have been talking to somebody for longer than he thought he was, and when he turned back around, the car was gone.
Yeah, it could have been two separate things.
Mm-hmm. Two separate things. It was just a driver of like a hired car, like a town car.
Yeah.
And standing outside and saw Dan Aykroyd and was like maybe squinting at him to see, holy shit, that looks like Dan Aykroyd. Because I bet that experience happens with a lot of people in New York where you're just like trying to be cool about it.
If you make eye contact with anyone in New York, you're going to get mean mugged.
Sure. Or nice mugged, maybe.
New Yorkers aren't known to be the friendliest people.
Or mugged.
Yeah, or just mugged.
I found New Yorkers to be very, very welcoming to us.
Oh, cool.
They were very kind and very blunt, and I appreciated that. Not one of them were mean or cruel, which I experience a lot more here, just like mean and cruelness than I did when I was in New York.
Interesting. Yeah, I imagine the East Coast people are too busy to be mean.
Yeah.
Over here, we have a lot of time in the West Coast.
Yeah, just soaking up those rays, that Western sun.
That's a weird story.
And it happened to everybody's favorite Ghostbuster, Dan Aykroyd.
What happened after he saw the guy?
He just disappeared.
Yeah. And the show got canceled?
Show got canceled 2 hours later, he said.
And he thinks it was related.
He feels it's related, yes. Nobody else felt that way. They said it was creative differences.
I mean, I don't want to get stuck on Dan Aykroyd, but did he say that the guy looked weird? Like no eyebrows, no... Because that's kind of what people have been saying.
Yeah.
That
No, he was across the street.
Weird looking.
He was just in a suit and in a car, and he appeared and disappeared just miraculously. He was there and gone.
Okay.
In the blink of an eye.
So that leads us to behavior. So we know how they look.
Naturally.
They're just weird.
Yeah.
Creepy.
They speak in a monotone, like a monotonous voice.
Big.
They're big.
In the video we saw of the two guys walking into the hotel, it looked like a kid on a kid's shoulder wearing a big suit.
Like they were just trying to get into a club.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah. I actually couldn't really tell because the perspective was hard. There was one other person that was in the those two doors that separate the outside. Worker. Yeah, the outside from the inside. And they passed through those doors so quick, I didn't really get a good chance to look and see if they were that much bigger than that hotel worker.
Yeah, and we couldn't see their face because they're wearing hats.
And sunglasses. But they came in looking for the owner of the hotel and the head of security because those two people had reported seeing like a triangular spaceship outside of their upper floors.
Yeah. So these guys, they walk in most of these situations and are very intimidating. Like they're just straight up trying to alpha you.
Mm-hmm.
They act as though they have authority.
Yeah. They'll often show badges that say security on it.
Oh, really?
Or a version of that. Yeah. They'll say
interesting.
No name, though, and they refer to each other by number.
Weird.
So kind of like in Men in Black, where their names get reduced down to the first letter, like J and K. Very similar to that, where you're like 1 to 200.
Yeah, so no names.
Yeah, numbers.
Very secretive.
Sure, naturally.
But with that secret behavior, they also know a lot of information about you.
Personal information. Which is wild. So in one of the early instances where a piece of metal was found, they're like, you need to go get me that motherfucking metal right now. No more motherfucking metal in your motherfucking house. And so that is very scary because the reports will say, like, how did they know that I had salvaged this piece of metal? I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my
And that's
partner.
Most of these encounters. It's just like, I was alone in the woods and I saw this.
Yeah.
How come you're here telling me not to tell anyone about it?
Yeah. But I just think that that's very convenient. Them being alone and then told not to tell about it, and then they tell about it, but they're told not to tell about it. So that like compounds the myth, and that is what I think piques everybody's curiosity is like, oh shit, this guy is like a whistleblower on his own personal experience and is telling the world what happened to him specifically, and then he's being silenced by people that we don't even know exist, but we're going to have to take his account.
Yeah, it is bizarre because,
as fact.
Having thousands of these encounters and people coming forward with them, they're all doing the exact opposite of what these Men in Black are telling them to not do.
They're all saying, don't talk about this. And so what do? They write a book about it.
It's strange. If there are UFOs or something like that, I imagine that these people are pretty high strung If you see something, you're going to have those pins and needles. Your senses are going to be a little more enhanced. You're going to have a little bit of I'm being watched feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be sus.
You're going to have a general sense of sus.
Sussery.
Yeah. Paranoid.
Paranoid.
You might
That's
say.
the word. Yeah.
Yeah. I only say that like 5 times an episode. But if you claim to have seen something, then anything that happens after that, especially if you're like in a heightened sense, you're going to attribute to that. Like the whole world revolves around you. So you're going to look at everything that way.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about before the show, everybody's favorite topic to talk about is themselves. And they're going to think that everything that happened to them is actually part of a worldwide conspiracy, when it may have just been an owl in a tree that looked like the Flatbush monster or whatever.
I was watching a TV show recently where they were going in and talking to people, and they're coming forward with some of their stories. And almost every person that these two people were talking to that had these encounters, one of the main questions they asked was, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I special? Why did they come to me? It's just like it's not because of you.
You weren't picked. If it did happen to you, it was 100% random.
Yeah.
No, nothing about you is special. You're just somebody out in the woods. You happen to be isolated at the time of this, whatever.
Yeah. And if you're listening and you had an encounter and you thought you were special, I think you're special for other reasons.
Yeah.
But not for experiencing.
You've got great red lips and a very waxy skin. And I love that hat and suit that you decided to put on.
Very demure.
Very uncharacteristic of you. Very demure. Yeah.
So some of the tactics that these men in black use when they come, they threaten them.
Yeah.
They're going to kill you.
Yeah. Or your family members. Like one incident was, it was basically like, you have a very pretty wife. It would be a shame if something were to happen to her.
So they do threats. They intimidate a lot.
Yeah. They do up close magic.
Surveillance.
Uh-huh.
Maybe there's been some instances of memory wiping.
Sure. A neuralizer.
Yeah. Some accounts suggest that there's more sinister actions like disappearances of people or destruction of evidence or, like you said, burgled.
Yeah. Burgled their turrets.
Yeah. And I think magic.
Up close magic. I think it was Bender. They showed up at his house. They showed him a penny. The penny went from copper colored to silver colored to blue and then dematerialized. And they're like, huh? Do you believe us now? Now, don't talk to anybody. And he's like, yeah, man, you made a penny disappear. Incredible.
Yeah, that was Dr. Herbert Hopkins. He was a researcher. He claimed that a man in a black suit visited him, confirmed details about the case he was investigating.
This was the one that they called ahead of time, right? Called ahead of time to make sure he was home alone, and then turned on his outside porch light. And as he was doing that, he saw somebody outside of his house walking up his steps.
I don't know.
Okay.
But what I do know is they knew what he was investigating.
Yeah.
And they made a coin vanish as a scare tactic.
Yeah, I know.
And warned him to destroy all his related files. So this is 1976. Magic stores were popping at this time.
Yeah, this is like Mandrake the Magician was around at this time. A magician that my dad really liked. I think Doctor Strange came out at about this time in the comics world.
Yeah, magic was happening. You could get magic tricks in the back of comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Some cereal prizes were magic tricks. Yep. I mean, this was
all about sleight of hand.
Yeah. And spies were super big.
Spies were big like all through the 80s. I remember reading in the back of comics, I actually ordered a pair of sunglasses that allowed you to see behind you. So like in the little corners, it was like those
the mirrors.
two-way mirrors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a pair of those. Okay. They sucked.
Oh, yeah. All of them sucked.
They were terrible. All you got was like the side of your face and your ear. But the idea of it was so cool. And it like fed that paranoia that somebody was always like sneaking up on you, ready to get you.
So you ordered it. Did you put the money in the envelope?
Uh-huh.
Like coins?
Like a check.
A check?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
My parents wrote a check and then we put it in an envelope and we mailed it away.
So yeah, when I heard about this guy's story with the coin, I laughed out loud.
It's funny.
I thought it was
it's really
very
funny. It's up close magic. It's just really funny. But imagine like a David Blaine type character back then. Or a Chris Angel, a mind freak.
He would be killed.
Yeah, he would be thrown into a lake with rocks tied around his head or burned at the stake as a witch.
And he probably would have escaped.
He would have. He would have set the whole thing up.
Yeah. When I first read this, I thought just the coin behind the ear disappearing thing. But researching a little bit more, there was a copper penny and it started turning silver and then green and fuzzy and then it disappeared in front of him. No hand movement is what he described.
Right, but it was just him that was there. So it's just his accounting. A lot of these accounts, I feel like the game of telephone. And when people stop paying attention to how outrageous the story is because maybe they've heard it before or they've heard parts of the story, you're going to start amping it up to get people's attention. So eventually you're like, oh my God, no way.
Well, and we've talked about people do that with their own memories too.
People do that. False memories are created that way. Yep.
Where it just slowly over time, it's skewed slightly to where all these small skews turn into a completely different story.
Yeah. You tripped over a sidewalk and suddenly you got pushed out of a second story window.
Yeah. But that Dr. Hopkins account kind of highlighted that the Men in Black's ability to perform seemingly impossible feats, and it focuses on suppressing UFO-related evidence.
This is scarier to me than any accounts I've heard about abduction. So like the Travis Walton thing, I didn't see fire on this guy until I was like in my mid to late teens. But that was a terrifying movie. That is not something I do not want that to exist. Nobody wants to be. It's just like a child abduction. That is the worst possible thing that you could live through. It's like having your kid stolen or being a child and being taken. And that was a thing in the 80s. It's still a thing today. Some of these accounts, could probably line up with alien abduction. They're like, well, my kid went missing. Well, there was a weird person buzzing around our neighborhood asking a bunch of questions. That could have just been a pedophile doing the same thing and snatching kids or people or whatever. I'm not saying that the two are related. I'm just saying that this is how these myths get started. Parts of them are based in reality, at least the reality as far as these people are concerned.
Well, Bender's testimony, that Albert Bender said he was being silenced by the 3 Men in Black, and he said that they're from the planet Kazakh. I don't know why the Men in Black gave him that information.
That's the thing is, you're right. Why would they give him that information? Don't tell anybody about this, but here's all my personal information I'm going to give you. Here's the last 4 digits of my social security number. Here's here's my address. Why would they do that?
Yeah, that's very strange.
It is such a silly name for a planet.
Yeah, it really is. It sounds like a planet on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
The hard part about this, I want it to be true so bad.
Yeah.
There really is just no concrete evidence.
No.
It is myth and lore.
Mm-hmm.
There could be, I'm sure there is a government organization out there.
I would absolutely agree that there is.
Yeah, I mean, it would be weird if there wasn't, honestly.
Yeah.
But with aliens, I mean, maybe. But I just don't believe that, sadly. I mean, the government would want to conceal some of this to make so there's not mass hysteria, like just mass psychological effects on people. But they're still creating that psychological effect just on individual levels.
Okay, I know you want to believe, but let's talk about just in sheer numbers, right? As prevalent as UFO, UAP sightings are, why aren't Men in Black sightings as common as that? After somebody has spotted a UFO or a UAP or whatever term you want to use, if they are supposed to show up after every sighting, why don't we have more accounts of Men in Black showing up?
Maybe because what the Men in Black are doing is working.
But what is it? How is it working? We're still hearing about these accounts.
You're right. And it could be that they aren't doing it anymore. Maybe it was from this time to this time, but now civilization is ready.
They've already collected all their evidence.
Yeah, maybe civilization is ready and we can handle something so there wouldn't be mass hysteria. But you're right. I mean, there's places that you can go in the world where you could see a UFO every night. I mean, there's tons of places like that where it's very, very, very common. The numbers don't make sense. Like there should be the exact amount of numbers.
Yeah, it should correlate to the number of sightings.
Yeah.
And with that correlation would come evidence. People showing up. You have a camera system in front of your house. I have a camera system in front of my house.
Yeah.
We're not the only people on the world that have cameras at our house. There are hundreds of thousands of cameras out there. If people were showing up to houses, we would have documented evidence of it.
Yeah. The other thing I just thought of is
this going to be a hot take?
Oh, this is a hot take. If there are multiple species of aliens, maybe there is a species of aliens that was not supposed to be somewhere at a certain time or something. If they have
boy.
have an organization schedule
Right. Like
of their visits, and then they show up and someone sees them and they're like, you weren't supposed to see that. Do not tell anyone we were here.
I was never
I
here.
was never here.
Yeah. Exit stage left, as Snagglepuss would say.
Even though this topic has been contested a lot because there's not a lot of proof and there's a lot of funny things, you would call what? Whack jobs?
Paranoid freaks.
Paranoid freaks. Yeah, whack jobs. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah. Me and my paranoid freaks we're very comfortable with how we refer to ourselves.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, each other, not ourselves.
Just remember, that's a zoot suit wanting,
briefcase
carrying, middle school businessman.
Sweater vest owning, middle school businessman.
Yeah. Bow ties.
Yep, with a clarinet in his backpack because he was too embarrassed that people would make fun of him. That's me. That's
who's making fun of you right now.
Yeah. Going home to read my Lord of the Rings.
So this whole topic still captivates a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It also kind of shines a little bit of light on the paranoia that people have with the government and their secrecy.
Well, and how like they're understanding that government is so big and it's a big bureaucracy. Of course, there's going to be these little like hidden pockets of people that are pulling money in from taxpayers that are out there trying to silence.
The government has no idea where all of our money's going.
Sure. Yeah,
which is bonkers because that's why calculators exist.
Yeah, I mean, they love that idea that there's like these little pocket agencies that are sprung up just to intimidate and make people afraid.
The cool thing about this is that no one can be right or wrong. Great. There's always going to be a debate because there isn't evidence.
That's like saying my version of blue might be different than your version of blue because you're seeing through your eyes. Like your idea of blue could be red. And your whole world could look completely different to me. But like, I'm not really interested in going down that road.
Well, I'm just saying this debate will go on for a long time. I'm not going down that road. Jeez, that took a dark turn.
It didn't take a dark turn. It's just like
I'm not trying to manipulate you.
It's like one of those annoying things, right?
Travis, you're safe here.
I know.
You're fine.
But it's one of those things that people say like, well, it can't not be true, but it can't be true. Those two things can exist. Like, yeah, they can exist. That's fine. There's a lot out there that we don't know.
Yeah.
But just saying like it exists because I want it to exist because I don't think the government is using their funds properly or whatever, because it's silly to me.
Well, I'm just saying the lack of evidence is going to make it so that this debate is around for a very long time.
Right.
Which will make it always one of the bigger topics in the unexplained phenomena realm.
Sure.
Which is cool. You know, it's something we needed to talk about. We needed to dive in. I don't think we'll know for sure. I want it. From what I hear, like, it could be something else. It could be people.
It could be a guy in a Hawaiian suit with too much sunscreen on his face walking up to you and talking to you about it. It's probably not going to be Men in Black. I would feel like if you were trying to be as inconspicuous as possible, why dress exactly the way everybody expects you to dress?
Because they got some old information about how we dressed.
And weren't able to update it by just being out among people and seeing that nobody wears a suit anymore? Just casually?
Yeah, I'm not going to speak for them because I believe that they should speak for themselves.
Oh my God.
But I would like to think the best of them.
So this is just a plea to the alien overlords. To not bug you. Please leave you alone. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I just want them to know that I care and come at me.
All right.
So yeah, if you guys have any stories, I'd want to hear more. You can get a hold of us.
Sure. I would love for you guys to send us drawings of these Men in Black that you've seen.
Oh,
I think that is more helpful than pictures. I want to see a drawing. I want to see somebody's artistic interpretation of what a Men in Black.
I'd be down with that. Like. I'd frame that.
Yeah, I'd frame it.
Yeah.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah, if you guys have any feedback or insults, don't bother. You can send us whatever you want.
We never learned how to read. Joke's on you.
Yeah, we're gonna go into a quiz.
Okay, very very exciting. What the fuck is this? I've never even heard of this.
I don't know. Our researcher would not tell me any information.
Rendlesham Forest?
Yeah. So next week we're going to talk about Rendlesham Forest. Because of
are we saying that right? Or is it Rendlesham?
Good.
Where's it located?
Well,
let's so here we go.
No, don't scroll ahead. This is the issue that we had last time.
I think it's Rendlesham because I scrolled ahead.
We were sent this quiz while we were recording. so Travis couldn't do research like he did last time. I asked what we were going to be talking about, what the quiz is about, and was told no information. So
Because can't even be trusted around me.
I can't. I mean, it's kind of fun though, not knowing what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So this is going to be our baseline quiz.
This is my nightmare though.
Not being prepared.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to talk about next episode. We are going to take a quiz to figure out what we know so that you know that we actually don't know anything.
Right. Yes. Typical end of the show quiz.
Yep.
How are we going to do this?
I'll just read the questions
and then we both
you give your answer. I'll give mine, and then we'll submit the quiz and we'll kind of go over and see how great we did.
Okay.
So first question.
Mm-hmm.
What year did now you got me all worried about the pronunciation.
That's fine. We can always fix that in the edit. It'll just be like, what year did the correct pronunciation, forest, incident occur?
Yeah. So what year did the Rendlesham?
I'm going to say Rendlesham.
Rendlesham.
You can say Rendlesham too. That's the both, I'm sure, are...
Well, you know what? This is already...
contentious.
When you listen to the next episode, we will have the correct pronunciation.
Maybe.
So when did this Rendlesham forest UFO incident occur? Okay, so it's a UFO incident.
Okay.
Is it A, 1953, B, 1971, C, 1980, or D, 1999? I mean, that sounds like a 70s forest. So I'm going to say 1971.
I'm going with 1980.
Okay. Where is Rendlesham? I did both.
You're doing every pronunciation. That's fine.
Where is this forest located? Is it A, Scotland, B, Massachusetts, C, England, or D, Australia? I'm going to say Scotland because it sounds like something out of a Arthurian.
I'm going to say England similarly.
Okay. I guess England is a little more Arthurian, right?
Yeah. But you didn't have to be from England to become the King of England. There have been Scots that have been King of England.
Okay. Next question. Mm-hmm. What military branch was involved in the forests incident? A, Army, B, Marines, C, Navy, or D, Air Force?
I'm saying Navy.
I'm going to say Air Force. No, I'm going to say Navy too, because the Navy's seems to be a little more transparent when it comes to talking about this stuff. The Air Force is the one that's just like, nope, nothing here.
Yeah, same with the Army. They're all grunts anyway.
Oh, careful.
And the Marines are pretty tight-lipped.
Yeah.
And they don't have Marines in the UK. They have whatever. They have their own version of it.
Mariners.
Yeah, Mariners.
Next question. What was the alleged shape of the unidentified object witnessed in Rendlesham Forest? A, circular, B, triangular, C, saucer, or D, diamond?
What's the difference between circular and saucer?
A saucer would be like two saucers put together, like two lids.
And a circular would be like a frisbee?
Yeah.
I'm going to say triangle.
I'm going to say diamond.
Oh, that's fancy.
So next question. Which of the following is not considered a possible explanation for the incident by skeptics? A hoax.
Okay. I just want to be clear. Which of the following is not considered a possible explanation for the incident by skeptics? I just wanted to be clear in my own head what the question was asking. So skeptics, people that don't believe this happened, this is something that they're not considering that it is. Is that correct? Is that like a correct rewording of that?
Is not considered a possible explanation.
Yes, by skeptics. So people that don't believe in it already.
They're not thinking about this?
They're not thinking, I guess they're not. I don't know. This is not a thing that they would say.
Well, let's look at
let's look at the answers.
So A, a hoax. B, fireball and stars. C, a lighthouse. Or D, a weather balloon?
Not considered.
Which of the following is not considered a possible explanation?
This feels like a trick question.
Does.
Now I have to think about, what does Jordan know about us? Is she setting us up for something that is going to totally embarrass us? So we're going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to say hoax.
I'm going to say a lighthouse. I'm still not completely grasping the question.
Yeah. So of all these things, skeptics don't consider the Rendlesham incident to have been
a lighthouse.
A lighthouse. I'm going to say a weather. I'm going to take hoax back and say a weather balloon. I think the hoax was thrown in there just so I would pick it.
So
I'm on to you, Jordan.
Yeah. Last question. A sergeant reported receiving a telepathic message in which language? A. Binary code. B. Klingon. C. Morse code. Or D. Latin.
This is so silly because these are all like Earth-based languages. Like Klingon is totally made up. Binary may be a universal code because it's computer language, but that's invented here.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing, man, that makes me...
Grinds your goat?
Yeah, it does. It really grinds that goat up. Okay, I'm going to say... I don't want to say the wildest thing on here, which would be Klingon.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to say binary.
Okay. That's what I'm going to say, too. I'm going to say binary.
That's a rough one. I'm very curious
But
about...
how do you get a telepathic message in binary? It's just like 10000011111111111.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that I say that out loud, I'm like, yeah, I could totally
But did
get
he
a message.
understand it? So I don't know. That's weird. Well, we're going to find all this out. We're going to know everything about this
Okay.
forest.
Okay, so submit.
Yep, I submitted. I'm going to view for accuracy. You were right. The incident occurred in 1980. I said 71.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. It was located in England,
Got
not
that right.
Scotland.
Got it.
It was the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
That was the military. I don't know.
Triangular. Got it. Weather
you-
balloon. Got it. Binary. Got it.
You got
Holy-
100%.
Holy shit.
You cheated.
Maybe this is my new tactic. Like, don't do any research. Maybe I'm a secret genius.
Or you too received a telepathic binary.
Yeah, but I don't
Message.
understand binary. I mean, Latin, sure. Everybody understands Latin. This
This
is incredible. This is like the greatest moment of my life.
That's crazy.
Don't tell my kids.
So it was not a diamond. It was
Triangle.
a triangle.
Yeah.
It was not a lighthouse. It was a
Weather balloon.
weather balloon.
I'm glad I redacted my hoax and said weather balloon.
And then it was binary. So
Binary.
I only got 2 correct.
Man, this feels good. This is probably like what gold medalists feel. No, I think this is better.
Well, I'm really happy for you.
This is better. Wow, I feel incredible right now. I could take on a moose.
Well, I'm excited to find out what all this is about.
Me too.
Sounds like
I'm gonna.
you're halfway there.
I'm already bookmarking.
I don't even think you need to do any research.
I'm already bookmarking websites right now, trying to figure this out.
Yeah. So thank you for listening and being a part of this. And we are excited for you to hear the next episode as much as we're excited to learn about it. So until next time, keep dreaming, right? No, stop bookmarking. Don't.
Hold on.
You're going to know so much stuff.
Rendlesham Forest.
Rendlesham.
Rendlesham Forest.
Okay. Rendlesham.
Rendlesham.
I think I got it correct at least once.
Yeah. I said Rendlesham.
Yeah,
so
that was...
Rendlesham.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Until next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.